Have you ever woken up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and thought, where am I going wrong? Even if you feel like you've had enough sleep, you're still tired. Your stomach is bloated, your joints ache, and even your morning coffee doesn't help. You go to the doctor, and they say it's just signs of aging. They suggest some supplements, maybe a cream or a vitamin. But no one tells you to look at that clear bottle sitting in your kitchen cupboard. Apple cider vinegar. No, it's not just for adding flavor to salads. And yes, the smell is a bit strong, but the effects? That's where things get interesting. Because this natural liquid could actually be the invisible helper of your digestive system, the secret balancer of your blood sugar, and the behind-the-scenes warrior of your immune system. So why haven't you heard this before? Because no one clearly tells you that after age 65, what you eat doesn't affect your body like it did when you were younger. No one tells you that just a teaspoon of vinegar actually regulates stomach acid, reduces bloating, and even gently nudges your slowing metabolism. But here's the real problem. Most people use apple cider vinegar the wrong way. Some drink it with food, some swallow it straight on an empty stomach, then get heartburn and quit. Then they say, it didn't work for me. But in this video, we're going to get to the how to use it part, the part that makes the difference. But first, a little story. Margaret is 72 years old. For 3 years, she's been feeling mild bloating in the mornings and endless fatigue in the afternoons. Her doctor says it's normal. Her son watches a video on YouTube and tells her to try apple cider vinegar for just 1 week. Not on an empty stomach, but with a special mix at a certain time. The result? After 3 days, her stomach pain decreased. After 5 days, she wakes up feeling more energetic. After 10 days, her blood tests show lower triglyceride levels. Of course, this is not a medical treatment, just a small support. And Margaret says, I wish I had known this sooner. That's why in this series, I won't just say apple cider vinegar is good. I'll tell you how, when, with what, and for whom it's helpful, and who should stay away from it. But first, let's clear one thing up. What apple cider vinegar is not. It's not a miracle. But, if used right, it could be the key to easing some of the discomforts you've been struggling with for years. In the next part, we'll start with where apple cider vinegar first shows its effect in the body, the digestive system. You'll be surprised when you hear why that first sip you take right after waking up sometimes causes harm instead of benefit. A lot of people have heard that apple cider vinegar is good for digestion, but few know that it's actually used to balance stomach acid. And right here, a big misunderstanding starts. Most of us associate heartburn with too much acid. But the truth is, as we get older, stomach acid decreases. Yes, you heard that right. As people age, their stomachs stop producing enough acid to properly digest food. This causes food to stay in the stomach too long, ferment, and leads to gas and reflux. And you, thinking, I have too much acid, take acid-reducing meds. But actually, your body needs more acid. This is where apple cider vinegar comes in. So why do some people get heartburn when they drink it? Because drinking it straight and on an empty stomach can hurt the weakened stomach lining. The ideal way is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of warm water, add a few drops of lemon and some honey if you want. And most importantly, drink it 10 to 15 minutes before a meal. This mix tells your stomach, it's digestion time. It increases your saliva, stimulates your pancreas, and regulates stomach acid. The result? Less bloating after meals, easier digestion, and more regular bowel movements. One of our older viewers, Frank, who is 69, wrote, I hadn't been able to go to the bathroom after my morning coffee for years. Since I started apple cider vinegar, my morning routine has completely changed. I no longer walk around with a bloated stomach until noon. Of course, it may not have the same effect for everyone. But if your digestion has slowed down, if you have irregular bowel movements, stomach gas, and bloating that bother you, maybe the solution isn't an expensive medicine but just a few drops added to water. Still, a warning. If you have stomach ulcers, gastritis, or reflux issues, don't start without consulting your doctor. Vinegar is a support, not a cure. And now, the next question is, does apple cider vinegar only affect digestion? No. In the next part, we'll talk about how this liquid balances blood sugar and why it causes surprising results in some people with type 2 diabetes. Because this vinegar isn't just messing with your stomach. It can calm the sugar in your blood too. Blood sugar. One day high, the next day low. Finger gets pricked, the device beeps, results keep changing, but the tiredness stays the same. dizziness, lack of focus, constant craving for sweets. And then one day, someone tells you, drink apple cider vinegar before dinner. Your blood sugar will stay steady. Sounds ridiculous, right? Because it can't be that simple. But science says it can be. Research shows that apple cider vinegar, especially when taken before dinner, increases insulin sensitivity, meaning your body can absorb glucose into cells more easily. The result? No sudden spikes in blood sugar after eating. In a 2004 study, people with insulin resistance who used apple cider vinegar had up to 30% lower blood sugar after meals. And that was just with 2 tablespoons of vinegar. But again, the key is right timing, right mix. And of course, patience. Emily is a 63-year-old retired teacher. She had type 2 diabetes. She took her meds, but always struggled with sleepiness and fatigue after dinner and restless sleep throughout the night. One day, on her daughter's advice, she tried apple cider vinegar. 1 teaspoon of vinegar, 1 glass of warm water, a bit of cinnamon. 15 minutes before dinner. She didn't feel much the first 3 days. But after a week, she noticed deeper sleep, fewer night awakenings, a 15% drop in morning blood sugar. Let's repeat, this is not a medicine. But when combined with proper nutrition, it can support the body. And it's a natural, accessible alternative to expensive supplements. But be careful. It's risky for people who use insulin or have hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. So a doctor's checkup is a must before starting. So, does it only affect blood sugar? No. Apple cider vinegar also influences your body's pH balance, cleans out bacteria, and one of its most interesting effects is this: joint pain. Yes, those stubborn knee pains, morning stiffness. In the next part, we'll look at how apple cider vinegar fights inflammation in the joints and why some seniors have been able to get back to walking after years. Because maybe the root of the pain is an acid-base imbalance. Taking that first step in the morning. When you're young, you barely notice it. But as you get older, getting out of bed and putting your foot on the floor feels like a test. That crackling sound from your knee, the stiffness in your hip, the back pain that gets worse the longer you stand. You start feeling like your own body is a stranger, as if those joints don't belong to you anymore. Then someone hands you a bottle, apple cider vinegar, and you sigh, thinking, is this supposed to help? But here's one of science's little secrets. Apple cider vinegar can indirectly affect the levels of inflammation in your body. How? One of the main causes of chronic inflammation in the body is an acid-base imbalance and an excess of bad bacteria in the gut. Apple cider vinegar, with its mildly acidic nature, supports the stomach, and with its alkalizing effect, helps balance the body's overall pH. It's also a natural antibacterial, meaning it can suppress some harmful microbes in the gut. And remember, the gut isn't just a digestion center. It's also 70% of your immune system. What does that mean? Balanced immunity equals less inflammation. Less inflammation equals less joint pain. Story time. Richard, 68, a former carpenter. He's been advised to get knee replacement surgery for years, but keeps postponing it. His walking distance has dropped to 10 minutes. He can't even go to the park with his grandchildren. A physical therapist suggests 3 things: light exercise, turmeric supplements, and a daily morning mix of apple cider vinegar, lemon, honey. Nothing changes in the first 2 weeks. But on week 3, for the first time, that crack sound doesn't happen when he gets out of bed. By week 5, his walking distance doubles. And after 2 months, he's going to the grocery store without a cane. Look, apple cider vinegar isn't a miracle. But if you have inflammation-related joint problems, natural supports like this can improve your quality of life. Of course, there are things to watch out for here too. Overuse can cause potassium loss in the body. Drinking it undiluted can damage tooth enamel, and it can interact with some blood pressure medications. So what's next? Another silent battle inside your body, toxin buildup. In the next part, we'll look at apple cider vinegar's effects on the liver and detox, and why cleanse takes on a whole new meaning in old age. Because sometimes the problem isn't just what you eat. It's whether your body can get rid of it. The liver, even if you don't notice it, it works every second. It knows your nights, your days, what you eat, what you drink, even what you think, because in the end, it has to clean it all up. But as you get older, this miraculous organ gets tired too. That's when these start. Unexplained fatigue, dark circles under the eyes, a foggy, cloudy feeling in your head. Morning can't quite wake up state. And doctors sometimes just say, it's age, and move on. But what if there are hidden toxins building up in your body for years? And what if your liver is under so much pressure it can't filter them anymore? Here's a simple but effective support: apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid and enzymes. These substances can gently stimulate the liver's detox functions. Also, thanks to its antioxidant properties, it helps protect cells from oxidative stress. And most importantly, it can increase bile production. That means better fat digestion and removal of toxins through the intestines. The story of Helen, 66, is striking here. She had suffered for years from poor sleep, constipation, and unexplained fatigue. Her blood tests showed no serious problems, but she didn't feel well. Her herbal teas, supplements, vitamins, none offered a lasting solution. One day, she heard about apple cider vinegar's effects on the liver at a health seminar. She decided to try it for a week. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in warm water each morning, a few slices of lemon, a sprig of fresh mint. That's all. After 3 days, her digestion improved. After 1 week, waking up became easier. And by the end of the month, her dark circles had noticeably faded. Her doctor was still skeptical, but Helen's mirror was telling her something different. Your body is working again. Here's an important reminder: apple cider vinegar is not a liver medicine, but as part of an antioxidant-rich diet, it's a supportive player for the body. If you want to cleanse your liver, you need to clean up your plate first, and then make the process easier with natural supports like this. Finally, the liver's detox process isn't just physical, it's emotional too, because this organ is linked to suppressed anger and stress in the body. And sometimes a glass of water mixed with vinegar can relax not just the body, but the soul as well. So after all these benefits, is there still a question mark? Yes. Who should stay away from apple cider vinegar? Because no matter how natural it is, this liquid isn't suitable for everyone. In the last part, we'll put all the risks, dosages, and the most common mistakes on the table. Because health isn't just about what you take. It's also about when and how much you take. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe for everyone. When I first heard this sentence, after all the praise about apple cider vinegar, it made me a little uncomfortable. But then I realized, real health knowledge starts not just by talking about benefits, but by honestly sharing the risks too. Yes, apple cider vinegar supports digestion in many people, balances blood sugar, reduces inflammation, stimulates the liver. But that doesn't mean everyone should get up and drink a glass every morning. Now we come to the most important question: who should stay away from apple cider vinegar? People with sensitive stomachs. For those with ulcers, gastritis, or reflux, vinegar can cause serious heartburn, and drinking it on an empty stomach can make it worse. Never start without your doctor's permission. People using insulin or diabetes medication, apple cider vinegar can lower blood sugar levels. But taken with medication, it can cause hypoglycemia, dangerously low sugar. You must consult a specialist. People on blood pressure or diuretic, water pill medications, vinegar can lower potassium levels. This can affect your heart rhythm. So it's not just what you drink, but what you drink it with that matters. Dental health risks. Constant, undiluted vinegar use can erode tooth enamel. So always dilute it with water, drink through a straw, and rinse your mouth afterward. Pregnant and breastfeeding women. While there's no clear evidence of harm, caution is advised because it could affect hormonal balance. And finally, dosage. The biggest mistake here is thinking, if it's good, I'll drink a lot. But too much vinegar can cause stomach problems, muscle weakness, and even mineral loss. The ideal dose: 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar plus 1 glass warm water, no more than twice a day. And this should be used for 3 weeks, followed by a 1-week break, then continued if desired. So what have we learned through all these parts? Apple cider vinegar isn't a magic potion, but if used correctly, it's a powerful helper. It can affect many areas from digestion and joint pain to blood sugar and liver health. But individual conditions must always be considered, and a specialist consulted if needed. Because health is earned not by hearsay, but by conscious steps. Maybe this simple liquid that's been sitting in front of you for years can offer you a brand new start. As long as you approach it at the right time, in the right way, and with respect for your own body. If this video gave you an idea, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone you care about. Because health spreads by sharing. And remember, Sometimes changing your life starts with just one sip.